Hey, I'm James Cooley. I am the founder and CEO of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, Options, Opportunities, the Choice Program. Our primary mission is to help build a foundation of our youth and young adults and communities. And we encourage everyone to dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. And the way that you do that is, first of all, you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you are here for a purpose. You also have to be able to step out your comfort zone and do things that you probably didn't think that you can do. Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, I am so excited about today's guest, today's show, and I tell you, I believe that you're going to be just as excited as I am, because we got a fantastic guest that's going to talk about a multitude of things. Especially, I don't want to give away too much of it, because this guy is so incredible, and this guy has competed and completed 121 marathons in 121 days. And so I tell you, Michelle, my great co-host, I'm excited about this. What about you?
I'm excited too. I haven't even completed one marathon, and that's
I
like
guess Michelle, her computer's having some problems right now. But I tell you, wherever you're watching this at this particular time, whether you're watching on E360 TV, if you're watching on 16 streaming networks or mechanism, um, you can always be part of the conversation by going to the comments portion of it and just giving StreamYard permission to show your face, and we will take any questions. But I want to bring another audience in. Let's bring the radio audience in. So, hey, Todd, let's do this, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Life is a series of
I
circles and
guess
cycles,
we,
phases,
Todd,
and
can you hear me?
stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of
Seem
life.
like we having,
You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the James Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and to overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome to It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley. Now we
Life
just
is a
picked up our
series of
radio
circles and
audience,
cycles.
and I tell you that we got an absolutely fantastic show coming your way, and we got this fantastic guest, Tom Jones, a retired Marine veteran, not retired, but a Marine veteran, doing a lot of great things, an educator, just a man, just great character, extreme athletic guy, and he's doing a lot of fantastic things out there to, bring patriotism back, and back inside the hearts of young Americans, and also he is the epitome of what it stands for, because what you do to make sure that you are out there. Case in point, I mentioned the earlier audience that this guy has done 121 marathons in 121 days. And overall, he has done over 300 and 350, but he's going to talk about those later. Michelle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Well, good. Yeah, I was commenting before that I have not done not even one marathon. So kudos, my hats off to Mr. Jones, because I think I did a half one. I don't even remember. But, there's always a reason and a purpose why someone does what they do. And the show today is going to explain why. So that's why we're excited to have this wonderful guest, Mr. Tom Jones, on the show to explain why he does the runs that he does, the marathons, and also the projects that he's involved in and working with.
Wow. Michelle, I want to get this show started because I want to hear from this great man, and I want to hear the story, and I want our listeners to also hear the story. So if you want to be part of this great conversation, all you have to do is go to wherever you're watching the show at or listening to it, and go to the comments and just put in, give StreamYard permission to show your face, your Facebook profile, or whatever that might, LinkedIn profile, and ask this great man any questions that you want to. So, Michelle, can you please tell our viewers and our listeners what the title of the show and the purpose of today's show?
Yes, the title of the show today is titled Liberty Village.
The title of the show and the purpose of today's show.
Yes, the title of today's show is Liberty Village. And the purpose is getting to know world record holder, extreme athlete, and Marine veteran Tom Jones. And we're going to talk about exactly what is the Liberty Village Project. And Tom is going to discuss United We Pledge Academy and its mission to restore patriotism in the youth. And we're going to talk also about the V2V Run. And we're going to talk about Tom Jones, who he is. He's an extreme athlete and Marine veteran, and he is passionate about the United States of America, the Constitution, and the traditional values of freedom, family, and faith. He's a world record holder and has an impressive history of completing extreme physical challenges, including running from Huntington Beach, California to New York City at a marathon pace for 121 consecutive days, setting the first ever stand-up paddleboard long distance world record by paddleboarding 1,250 miles from Oregon to Mexico in 93 days, and becoming a 7-time Muay Thai champion, including being the only person to run a full marathon and compete in a sanctioned Muay Thai prize fight on the same day. Hope I pronounced that right, Tom. Apologize. But we are so happy to have the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, Mr. Tom Jones.
How are you doing? How you doing, Tom?
Good. How are y'all doing? Thanks for having me. Seriously appreciate it. I'm honored to be here. So yeah, let's get this party started.
Man, it's an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and just looking at some of the things that you're doing. But first of all, before we even get started, I want our listener audience to know what the Liberty Project is, because we're going to talk about that one a lot today. So I, uh, I just want them to get an understanding of how the conversation is going to go. And so let's let this little video tell them a little bit about the Liberty Project.
There's a new campus being built in Hurricane, Utah. Lex Howard, he's the CEO of Balance of Nature. They're building a 160-acre campus in Hurricane. They've donated property, about 40 acres almost, to United We Pledge in order for us to build an American-type campus focused on American ideals. We call it Liberty Village. This is going to be a place where youth and others can go in order to learn about our traditional American values of faith and family and freedom, where they can learn about the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. The buildings are exact replicas of some of the important buildings in America's history. And interpreters, actors and actresses stay in character so that youth can have conversations with them about what happened in that era in order to help educate them and take them, kind of transport them back in time.
Wow. Hey, Tom, that seems like it's such a very important thing that you all are doing, because I do believe that we need to teach our youth and young adults, actually everybody, they need to understand what the Constitution is, what it means, and what values and core values of what we call them in the military, but we also call those in life as well. And so it's so important that we start teaching our youth at a very, very young age to get a better understanding as they grow, and to also develop that confidence, courage, hope, belief, and faith, and the patriotism of what so many have sacrificed for.
Right. So it's a different method of teaching. So we are what we are as humans is the sum of our experiences in life. That's who we are. And so the Liberty Village will allow kids and families to experience what it was like to be in this particular point in time in our country's history, which was the inception of our country and the creation of the Constitution. So it allows them to experience it instead of sit in a classroom and sort of being talked at. It allows them to step onto the stage of American history and become part of the story. And so that's a much more powerful way of teaching American history, I believe, than sitting in a classroom and trying to absorb it that way. So it's a great project. When I was approached with it, I believe that we as humans think with what I call our whole mind, which is our gut, our heart, and our mind. And in fact, they found that there's brain cells in all three of those: the gut, the heart, the mind. When I was approached with the idea of running from Montebello, Alabama, where one of these villages already exists, to Washington County, Utah, where they're going to build this new place, my gut said, go for it. My heart said, you got to do it. And my mind just said, this is a resounding yes, I'm in, let's go. So on April 19th, I started running another 76 consecutive marathons, which is the distance between Montebello, Alabama, and Washington County, Utah. I ran those 76 marathons, and I finished on July 3rd in Washington County, Utah, and I helped them break ground for this Liberty Village that they are now underway with, which is, again, it's a great project. I believe it's sorely needed. I believe that patriotism is in decline in this country because it is under attack by many different aspects. So I wanted to do what I could as a patriot to reignite patriotism in the youth, and I couldn't think of a better way than this Liberty Village project.
Wow. So, hey, Tom, so you were, tell our listeners and viewers, where were you originally born and where you grew up? And let's talk about you as a Marine, because what you just said is you thought about it. It was in your heart. It's in your gut. And just like protecting our country, you thought, I got to do this. So I want to talk about that a little bit as we approach the V2V efforts that you're doing. So can you tell our listeners where you're from, where you grew up, and a little bit about what inspired you to become a Marine, and after you came out the Marines, what inspired you to do what you're doing right now?
So I was born on the East Coast of Massachusetts. I moved about 36 times before the state of California removed me from my home for child abuse when I was 12 years old and put me into a foster care facility. Unfortunately, that facility was run by pedophiles. So I had to live with pedophilia until I was late 17-year-old. I ran away from that facility. I joined the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps was a great parent. They were a great influence. They taught me about leadership, esprit de corps, which is, getting outside of yourself and doing something for something besides yourself. They taught me teamwork. They taught me honesty, integrity. All my clothes matched. It was great. So that was a great experience for me. I served honorably. I did a lot of my tour in Asia. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I started working for Chuck Norris, the martial arts actor. I was his bodyguard and traveling companion for several years. Was a great experience for me, again, on top of the Marine Corps, being around somebody that had really good, strong morals and values and family values, and was a really big patriot. And I had started fighting professionally at the time, became a 7-time Thai boxing champion. And in 1998, there was a foster care facility in my area that wanted a playground, and they were trying to raise money for the playground. And I came up with a wild idea of running on foot from Oregon to Mexico, stopping at foster care facilities along the route, sharing my story with them because I had already become a world champion, trying to empower them to not be victims, but be victors, and help raise money for this playground. And when we dedicated that playground, my life changed. I had an epiphany. I knew exactly why I was here and what I was supposed to do. And
hold that thought, Tom.
Okay.
Hold that thought. We got to take a station break, but
okay.
I want to pick it up when we come back. I want to pick it up because you just said something that I did not know about you, and now I kind of get. So we're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back, pick up this conversation. We just got started. If you want to be part of this conversation, you can go to the comment portion of wherever you're watching it at, or you can call in at 1-888-344-1170. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Hi, I'm Todd Pierick, the producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And in the new audio version of his book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, you can join James as he shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of his book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by Dr. James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
The JC...
experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James Cooley, and I'm just intrigued already. We just got started with this great interview with Tom Jones, and we're going to talk about the Liberty Project and all the other things that he's doing. But he mentioned a couple of things that kind of caught my attention. Did not know, even doing my research, that he was part of the foster home program, and I work with foster and group homes, and I work with a lot of the kids that participate and have grown up through that process, and it's a tough process. And to get refocused and focus on what's going to make you a better person and not be a victim, which I didn't even hear a victim when you was explaining that. I heard victory, so can you pick it up from there, Tom? And let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, in short, my childhood was a dumpster fire, but I believe that we have a choice. We can either be in life, we can either be a victim or a victor. And that's really, when I do motivational speaking, especially to kids, that's sort of what I try to drive home. And the thing that's in between being a victor and a victim and a victor is something great. It's called the United States of America, which allows anybody to do anything that they set their mind to and are willing to work for. And so, we live in a great, great country. Like I said, I'm a former United States Marine, deployed all over the world, all of the places that I was deployed to, including the Middle East. Did not enjoy the liberties and the freedoms that we're gifted with by being born here. So when the Liberty Village Project was presented to me, because of those experiences in my life, I was all in, and I have been all in, and I'm trying to inspire other people to be all into this Liberty Village Project, help this place get built so that kids and families can come and become part of the American history, story, and experience. And I believe that once they are part of that story and experience, it will change their life forevermore. I believe that kids that go and have this experience may vote if they did, may not have, if they didn't have this experience, they may not be inclined to vote, run for political office, understand the power that they have as being American citizens and such. So, like I said, my childhood was a dumpster fire. I picked up the pieces. I made something out of myself. I inspire others, in particular children, to do the same, to be the most that they can be while they're gifted with this incredible life that we have. Wow.
Hey, Tom, I see we got a question already from Joshua Goldsmith. Hi, Tom. Nowadays, patriotism seems to be wrapped up in political or politics in our party system. How does Liberty Village exclude politics, such as being considered a Democrat or a Republican, so it can reach our youth as nonpartisan, if that applies?
That's a great question, because it does apply. United We Pledge is a nonpartisan, non-political, non-religious organization. And so Liberty Village is basically a reenactment of our country's independence and the Constitution. So it is what it is. We're Americans. And that's the thing that, so what was the person's name again that asked this question? Okay.
His name was Joshua Goldsmith.
Okay, Joshua. We're Americans. Okay. And whoever's at work behind the scenes is trying, if you're trying to take over something, the first thing you have to do is make division. And that's what's happening right now is that our country, there are forces at work that are trying to divide us as people. And what made America great, and what made America the greatest nation in the world, is the fact that we were united. Those 13 colonies united together, and they stood against tyranny. And that's what the Liberty Village is basically about. It's about reliving and reenacting that period of time and trying to reunite us as a people and not bring partisanship into it. In fact, it's all American. That's what it is. And so there's no partisanship in it whatsoever. The history of America is the history of America. It is what it is. So as long as they're authentic and bringing that back authentically, it's nonpartisan. It's American history. And I believe that the sooner we all as Americans wake up and smell the coffee and get united again as a country, the better. So that's how they're going to keep partisanship out of it. They're going to make it authentic, and they're going to reenact the history of our country.
Such a absolutely fantastic and true answer right there, because we have to keep that out. And especially if we want to teach our youth the right things. I mean, politics, I don't think it's let a person choose as they grow up, whatever that might mean to them. But we need to teach them what the basis and what the Constitution and the love of this great country, and we have to protect this great country. So, hey, Tom.
And Dr. Cooley, so what makes America great? If you've traveled the world like I have, I'll tell you the thing makes America great. We can agree to disagree without getting our heads chopped off, our heads blown off, and our family killed. Okay, that's the thing about America. You can agree to disagree, and it's okay. You can still be friends.
Absolutely. and I think we have to get back to that basic. I mean, right now, I don't think the country is there, and I don't know why we just can't love and love. Put all the politics to the side. Let's just love. I mean, I think we all need to do a group hug and just love each other for who you are and what you stand for, and we do everything that we can to make this country as great as it can be. And I believe.
You know who said it? You know who said it best, and they just said it off the cuff? Rodney King. Can't we all just get along?
Can't we all just get along? Hey, I tell you, I got to ask you this, because you work with Chuck Norris, one of my favorite actors, and you also was a prize fighter. What are some of the things when you were working with Chuck and traveling the world and fighting that clicked in, and that's part of your core values of what you live by today and what you teach and what you show others?
So when I traveled with Chuck Norris, Chuck is a giver, and he's big into philanthropy. And I was 25 years old, just out of the Marine Corps, when I was working with him and traveling with him. And I had no idea at the time that it rubbed off, but he would, there's a foundation called Make-A-Wish Foundation, which gives cancer kids a surviving wish. And a lot of the kids, their last wish was to meet Chuck Norris. And Chuck did so much philanthropy and so many good things for other people. And I didn't know it at the time, but it really did rub off on me. And in 1998, when this foster care facility needed a playground, I just went for it, and I ran from Oregon to Mexico. I helped raise a bunch of money to dedicate this to buy this playground. I stopped at foster care facilities along the route, and I shared my story, and I saw how powerful my story was in a positive way to a lot of kids that really didn't feel like they had hope and a future. It was powerful, and it became a feel-good addiction. So I did it again and again and again and again. And 25 years later, I find myself again. I just finished 76 consecutive marathons on July 3rd, running from Montebello, Alabama, where one of these villages exists, to Hurricane, Utah, to break ground for this Liberty Village again for kids. So it's amazing. So Chuck Norris rubbed off on me mostly in that way. He was a really good person. He was a really big giver. He did things for other people. I bodyguarded a lot of movie stars and rock stars and such, a lot of them were not gracious and wouldn't give interviews and wouldn't stop and talk to people. I never saw Chuck Norris do that. That man stopped for every single person that wanted his autograph. He would kneel down in airports and talk to children and be exhausted and go out of his way to do things for other people. He is a great man. He's a great human being. And that really stuck on me. I didn't know it at the time, but in 1998, when I started doing these runs for other causes, now have done 347 marathons for nonprofits. Yeah, he rubbed off on me in a big way. Are we still going, Dr. Cooley? Your video's frozen on me. Uh-oh. Are you there, sir?
There's a new campus being built in Hurricane, Utah. Lex Howard, he's the CEO of Balance of Nature. They're building a 160-acre campus in Hurricane. They've donated property, about 40 acres almost, to United We Pledge in order for us to build an American-type campus focused on American ideals. We call it Liberty Village. This is going to be a place where youth and others can go in order to learn about our traditional American values of faith and family and freedom, where they can learn about the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. The buildings are exact replicas of some of the important buildings in America's history. And interpreters, actors and actresses stay in character so that youth can have conversations with them about what happened in that era in order to help educate them and take them, kind of transport them back in time.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phrases and stages. These experiences teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to It's Your Life with James Cooley. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get you equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
There's much truth in a journey that ain't over yet, as all of us journey through life's precious gift of time, just like I have. Hi, I'm Todd Pierrick, the producer of The James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And in the new audio version of his book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, you can join James as he shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. This is a must listen for anyone who thinks they're stuck in life or needs to understand that their current situation is not their final destination. Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet is the unfiltered truth to provide hope for the future by challenging you to refuse to become a victim of life's circumstance and dare to become an overcomer.
Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James Cooley. I'm fascinated with Tom's story and so all the things that he's doing, especially the 76 marathons that he just ran, 76 consecutive marathons for the V2V. And I want to talk about that. Hey, Tom, let's just jump right into it. What does V2V stand for?
Okay, V2V stands for village to village. So there's a village that is like the village that you saw on the video that already exists in Montebello, Alabama, called the American Village. And we broke ground on the 3rd of July when I did the 76th marathon in Washington County, Utah, for this Liberty Village, which is going to be similar to this village that already exists in Montebello, Alabama. So the most frequently asked question, James, that I get is why? Why are you doing this? Why do you do these things? And the answer to that question is quite simply to get your attention, right? That's why I do these things, because 76 marathons in a row tends to get people's attention. They're like, what? Why would you do that? Well, when I have somebody's attention, that the attention is the bridge between human being and human being. That's why they tell you in school, pay attention. That's why your parents tell you, pay attention. That's the bridge between human to human. So when I get people's attention, it allows me to share the exciting project that I'm working on, which is this American Village and this exciting and really great organization, United We Pledge. So the why I do things is to get your attention. And once I have your attention, it allows me to share whatever I'm working on with you. And in this case, it's the Liberty Village.
Okay, so you talked about Liberty Village, because that's the title of the show as well, as you already know. How does the Village to Village and Liberty Village, you just explain a little bit of how that ties in?
Sure. The Liberty Village, or the American Village in Montebello, Alabama, has been there for several years and gets about 100,000 visitors a year to it. So United We Pledge and Lex Howard, the CEO of Balance of Nature, wanted to have something similar on the West Coast. And so that's what Liberty Village is. It's sort of a replica of this place in Montebello, Alabama. So the distance that I ran on foot, the 76 marathons, is actually the distance between the American Village that already exists in Montebello, Alabama, and in Washington, Utah, where Liberty Village is being built. So that's the significance of village to village. So it was a run to get people's attention, to get United We Pledge, which is a new organization, on the map, to get people to know about Liberty Village and what it was about, to get excited about it and get behind it.
Wow. So watching the video, it seemed like there's replicas of some of the most famous buildings. Can you tell our viewers about some of those buildings and what the significance?
It's like Liberty Hall, the Boston Church, where they hung the lights, one if by land, two if by sea, so it has replicas of like a cobbler, a shoemaker. It has replicas of buildings that were there during that period of time. And then they have people that assume the roles of prominent characters like George Washington, Ben Franklin, Paul Revere, John Adams' wife, men and women, colonial soldiers, and they show different scenes, and they also talk with the kids. In other words, the cobbler is making shoes and looks at a young kid and goes, "What do you think about the stamp tax? Isn't that king oppressive?" And so on. So they have conversations back and forth with the kids, and they reenact very important events that were during that period of time. And again, let the kids step onto the stage and become part of the story of American history. It's much more powerful that way.
Wow. So it just sounds so fascinating. How do the public, how do the organizations go about pushing this so we can get kids to, do field trips or do a lot of things to go and visit these great places so that they're going to understand?
They go to unitedwepledge.org. And when you say field trips, that's a great way to put it. So where you and I have traveled around the United States to different places to get the history of America, it can all be done in one place at one time. And that's really what Liberty Village is. It allows people to have that experience that you and I have taken weekend trips all around the country to kind of piece this American history together. They can do it all in one day, one time, in an afternoon. So they go to unitedwepledge.org and they can get involved there. United We Pledge is also coming out with a curriculum for families and schools to administer to kids that is a curriculum of American history. And the greatest document outside the Bible, I feel like, is the Constitution of the United States of America. Honestly, I mean, really, I believe it's the greatest document outside the Bible.
I totally 100% that is a great document, and that's what we live by, and that's what our Constitution is built upon, and we have to know it. If we don't know that, and we have to teach that in order to remain a democracy. And
well, your video froze on me, James, but if you can hear me, I mean, I totally agree. And that's what Liberty Village will do. It will allow these kids to have that experience. And to me, true philanthropy is helping people that you'll never ever meet.
Yes. So it's fascinating, man.
Yeah. And again, true philanthropy to me is is helping people that you will never meet. So this place will stand long beyond my lifetime and your lifetime, and it will serve to reignite and ignite patriotism in kids that we'll never meet. And that to me is the true meaning of service and philanthropy. And that's one of the things that really got me excited about being involved in it.
Yeah. So Tom, you mentioned that it's so important that we honor the people that have fought for our country and lived our country and gave up the ultimate sacrifice. Can you tell our listeners and viewers, why is that so important?
Okay, so what the founding fathers did was a demonstration of patriotism. That's what it was. They stood up against tyranny, and it was a demonstration of patriotism. All of the people that have served this great nation in the military, and some have given all, is a demonstration of patriotism. That's what that is. The 76 marathons that I just completed in a row, 26.2 miles a day for 76 consecutive days, that, Dr. Cooley, that was a demonstration of patriotism. And so as Americans, we all have to demonstrate our patriotism in our own way, whatever that means. You get to go serve your country. It means stand up for doing the right thing. It means being an American. It means being united, whatever it means to you, right? It's a demonstration of patriotism. What I did was a demonstration of patriotism. When I went and served my country as a Marine, when you were in the Navy and you served your country in the Navy, that's a demonstration of patriotism. That's an action. Okay. And I'm trying, and I believe that you're trying to inspire people to do their demonstration of patriotism, whatever that is, because that's what made this that's what made this country the greatest nation. See, America is the greatest experiment in the history of human beings. Since human beings walked on this planet, the United States of America is the greatest experiment in the history of humankind. That's powerful. Okay. People have been around for a minute. Okay. So it's important to preserve that going forward. And it is indeed under attack right now by forces that aren't lining up across the field from us with guns, right? And it's a war of propaganda, which is a different kind of war, right? It's not people pulling up with ships in the Pacific Ocean going, we're here to take your country. It's sort of an inside job. And I'm not sure that we're kind of coming up to speed on that new type of warfare, right? This propaganda war, this war of division, divide and conquer. And I think that we patriots are waking up to that. We're making the necessary adjustment.
We're gonna take a station break because we're taking hits on this, but we're gonna come back and we're gonna get more off into United We Pledge and the Academy and the courses that they're offering. So I tell you what, you want to be part of this conversation? Let's go to the comments and
yeah, go for it. Let's go. Let's get down the rabbit hole, man.
It's your life. I'm Dr. James.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley. The J.C. Cooley Foundation is a nonprofit organization that was started in October of 2014. The J.C.
There's a new campus being built in Hurricane, Utah. Lex Howard, he's the CEO of Balance of Nature. They're building a 160-acre campus in Hurricane. They've donated property, about 40 acres almost, to United We Pledge in order for us to build an American-type campus focused on American ideals. We call it Liberty Village. This is going to be a place where youth and others can go in order to learn about our traditional American values of faith and family and freedom, where they can learn about the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. The buildings are exact replicas of some of the important buildings in America's history. And interpreters, actors and actresses stay in character so that youth can have conversations with them about what happened in that era in order to help educate them and take them, kind of transport them back in time.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I want to apologize to some of our listeners if you were taking hits for some reason, and so there are bits and pieces that are popping out, but Tom is really putting it down, and he is really educating us on this project and all the great things that he's doing. Not just that, but the character, the heart and character of him that's doing all these great things. I'm talking about, if you ain't never ran a marathon, I'm talking about one. If you ain't never ran one, I mean, you probably won't, if you had ran one. Imagine running 336 of them. And you're doing this because it's a purpose in your heart about giving back and making sure that you're going to be the example to lead, teach, and guide. And that's what this great man is doing. And so I want to just thank you already. We got another 10, 11 minutes of this show, but I just want to say thank you, Tom. Thank you for all the great things that you are doing and all the great things that you're going to do, because it's just in the heart. It's just going to continue.
It's an elite team, and you're part of it. Because without people like you, Dr. Cooley, we can't get the word out, and we can't make that circle of influence bigger. In ancient times, when one village had an issue, they would go to the elders of all the other villages, and they would bring them all together, and they would have counsel, and they would try to figure out problems. So I see this project, this Liberty Village project, as that. What we're doing is we're reaching out, and we're getting people like you involved, and we're getting other people involved, and we're getting that circle of influence to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the more people that are involved, then the more great things will happen. So I'm doing my part. You're doing your part. We're asking your listeners to do their part, whatever that means. Go to unitedwepledge.org, make a small donation, get involved, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just get involved. Get involved. Do something, man. There were 13 colonies that stood up against tyranny and made a great nation. And I can tell you one thing, man, not on my watch. Yeah, I'm not letting it go. Not on my watch, man. I'll do everything that I can to preserve the great values. Like, because when I took a look at United We Pledge, right, they stand for freedom, family, faith, and being a good constitutional law-abiding citizen, right? So I knew that freedom was important because I had been in the Marine Corps, traveled the world, and been to so many countries that didn't have any type of freedom whatsoever. I know that family is important because I was raised in the foster care system and I didn't have a family, and I saw kids that did have a family, and all I ever wanted was a family, and I knew that family was important. I know that faith is important because before COVID, I had a thriving fitness facility, a big one, with a waiting list. I had several hundred people that were members and everything, and overnight, COVID took it away from me, and I ended up working in a shipyard scraping barnacles off the bottom of a boat a year and a half ago. And since I was the only veteran there, I'd raise the flag every morning and take it down every evening. And every morning I raised that flag. I had faith. I'd look up and I'd say, God, I know that you have a bigger plan for me. Like 6 months into it, I said, but could we kind of step on it a little bit? Because like, and then I find myself now just having completed 76 consecutive marathons to champion patriotism and our way of life as Americans. So I know that faith is important because I knew that God had a better plan for me. All I had to do is have faith and stick with it and be willing to be a faithful servant of God. So faith was important. I know that being a good constitutional law-abiding citizen is important, because we all know in 2020, the news articles of the city completely inferno and flames in the newscasts are saying it's a mostly peaceful protest, right? So, being a good constitutional law-abiding citizen is important. So when I was approached by United We Pledge and I looked at their core values, they all resonated with me. And then the Liberty Village Project really resonated with me. Then when I went to Montebello, Alabama, before I actually started running on the 19th, I actually went on tour with a couple fifth grade classes at this village that already exists. And I saw how those kids' lives were changed in one afternoon. And I was like, this is worth it. Let's get going. Let's get this on and let's make this big. So it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. And when I speak to people, I'm like, this is an elite team, man. This is like special forces, right? This is a team thing. And we want you to be part of that team. And we want you to be part of this great organization, this United We Pledge, and this really great place that they're building, this Liberty Village. So Dr. Cooley, we really thank you and people like you for getting involved with it, and your listeners for getting involved with it, because that's what it's going to take, man. That's exactly what it's going to take. And that, by the way, is what made America great. And I tell you one thing, Dr. Cooley, there's not people coming over the border in groves because this place is systemically racist and there's no opportunity here. Okay? They get it. It's time we wake up and get it. And that's part of what the run was, to get people's attention and say, hey, wake up. People aren't coming into this country in droves, and they're not walking for months through conditions that would freaking kill most of us, because this place is systemically racist and there's no opportunity here. This place is not systemically racist and there's plenty of opportunity here, and it ain't perfect. And if you show me the place that's perfect, I would submit to you, you're probably dead.
As we talked about earlier, and I think we took a couple of hits, anybody that's been living in the United States, love this country. If they didn't love this country, let them go overseas to a few of the other countries, and you'll see that they're going to be rushing back to get back to this. There is no greater country in the world, and I've been to a lot of them, than this great country, the United States of America.
Yeah. And when someone says it sucks, that basically says that to me, it says two things. One is they've never traveled, and two, they've been brainwashed, right? Because every time I was deployed, Dr. Cooley, and I don't know about you, but every time I was deployed abroad, the first step I took on American soil, sir, without fail, I dropped to my knees and I kissed the ground every single solitary time. Every single solitary time I did. And I'm not bluffing one bit. I dropped down the first step on American soil. I kissed the ground. I was like, oh my God, I love this country so much. We are so blessed. And let me say this before we get off, right? So I was thinking about that. Why do people devalue being in this country? Because, you know, you run 76 marathons in a row, you have a lot of, what do you call it, window time or whatever. And I don't listen to radios and stuff. So I contemplate, and I thought to myself, you know, as human beings, we go ahead.
No, we were taking hits, and you know, so you mentioned window time. That was the last thing I heard.
Yeah, well, I get you're running 70. When you're running a marathon, you got like 5 or 6 hours of window time, right? So I contemplate a lot. People ask me, what do you do? I say I meditate and I contemplate. So I was contemplating, why do some people hate America and not value America? And I thought to myself, isn't it interesting that people in general put value on things that they buy? They put value on their house. They put value on their car. They put value on their clothes. They put value on all this stuff that they can buy, vacations, right? And they devalue the things that are gifted to them, their freedom, their family, right? All of these things that are gifted to them, so as human beings, human nature is to devalue something you didn't pay for and put value on stuff that you did pay for, right? And the thing that I found very interesting in the epiphany to me contemplating that, Dr. Cooley, was this. Isn't it interesting that everything that you buy can be replaced, and everything that's gifted to you, you can't replace? Think about it.
Yeah. Hey, we're down to about the last minute and 5 seconds of the show. Real quickly, 30 seconds or less. What are 2 takeaways that you want our listeners to and our viewers to get from this? Also, how can they contact you and the great organizations that you are serving to help support, pledge, etc.? We got about 35 seconds.
It's unitedwepledge.org, at United We Pledge in social media. That's how you get contact with them and you get involved with them. They can direct you on how to get involved. The 2 takeaways are this, man. This country is the greatest country on the face of the planet Earth that's ever been. And it's worth saving and preserving. I guess those are the 2 takeaways, Dr. Cooley.
I don't want you to go anywhere, Tom. Look, don't go anywhere right now.
Okay.
But I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show. And radio audience, I know we're getting ready to lose you for a second or so, but you guys are wonderful. This great man, all the great things he's doing. And I tell you what, patriotism. I tell you, the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. We'll be back. And so I tell you, love you guys. Continue to maintain that confidence, courage, hope, belief, and faith. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James Cooley.
Thanks for joining us for the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. So
we still on TV. And we still on all these platforms. So we're not done, Tom.
Okay. All right, I'm here.
Yeah, so we still got a couple more airtime. So takeaways, we can slow those down a little bit because I think they're so important. What are some of the takeaways that you want our listeners to really focus on? And one of the Marine veterans, Dr. Pastor Pearl Pierce, said, go ahead on, my brother. You're doing great things. So you see him on the screen down there.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the takeaways are that we live and are privileged to be in the greatest country that's ever been in the history of human beings, and we're privileged, and it's worth preserving. And that United We Pledge is a great organization that's got a great project to help that preservation called the Liberty Village. And I believe that people should look into it and get involved with it because it's a great way to preserve the great history of this country. If you haven't noticed, which I'm sure you have, Dr. Cooley, that American history stopped being taught in schools about 15 years ago. They changed that to social studies, and so I believe that our history is, under attack, and I believe that they're trying to silence it. And I believe that as long as patriots like you and I stand up and push back, and United We Pledge organizations like that stand up and push back, that our great history of the United States of America will be preserved and passed on. So
Wow.
that's it.
I just want to thank you again. And it's a lot of stuff that we didn't get covered here. I would love to have you back on the show again if you have time.
Anytime.
So I just want to thank you. Thank you. I want to thank our audience. I'd like to thank my great co-host, Michelle Cooley. And I tell you, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. See you. Tom,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you so much, man. This was so inspiring to me, and I'm sure to many of our viewers. And coming straight from the heart, you can tell. And I'm just so happy to share the screen with you, man. Because
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
all the-
love your think big, be big. I love your whole philosophy, and it's an honor to meet somebody like you and be on your show. So I appreciate the opportunity, and it's people like you and your lovely wife there that make it worth it, and your listeners. So thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I would love to get you back on again.
Anytime.
One of the things that I didn't ask, I wanted to. I was trying to get to it, but we ran out of time. When are they going to open up that new site? The
2026. So they
Oh.
just broke ground on it, and so they'll be opening it. Their goal is to open it in 2026 or before, fully open it in 2026. So I think that they're going to build a couple buildings and open it, and then I think that they're going to, but it should be fully operational by July 4th, 2026. That's their
I would
plan.
love to get you back on, because I know you're going to continue to do marathons. You're going to continue to do certain things. You're going to continue to be you.
Yeah,
And,
I was gonna say.
I would love to get you back on.
Sure.
And catch up on what you're doing, and also talk about some of the things that we did not get to.
It's hard to stuff it all in an hour. I was in a meeting one time with I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but Chuck Norris and Christy Brinkley do that Total Gym infomercial.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
So I was in a meeting with the production company that does those infomercials.
Uh-huh.
So the guy, he told us he only had a half hour for the meeting, so he ended up staying for 2.5 hours. He looked at his watch. He goes, "Oh my God!" He goes, "It's 2.5 hours." He goes, "I can't believe it." He goes, "We don't sell the products, we sell the stories, right?" And he's like, "Your story is amazing." So it's hard to fit. He goes, "You're really enigmatic." So I kind of kicked the guy next to me, who's a co-founder of Total Gym. I said, "Did he insult me?" I didn't know what enigmatic meant at the time, but it's hard to stuff it all in an hour, because I'm a very enigmatic person. There's a lot to it. He's like, "I didn't know what to do with you after the 121 marathons in a row." He goes, "What do you do with a guy like you?" You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Just
But it is hard to stuff into an hour, so I get it.
It is. Somebody just left us a message. We still on the air, by the way. Well, my age era or just being mess. I don't know what that means, but I'll put it up there. But I understand that what we talked about today is absolutely fantastic, and patriotism and teaching our youth and getting our youth and young adults and all of us back to the basic of the Constitution, understanding what that is so important to us.
Yeah.
So
It's that it's
again,
this reunification project, right? Because they've spent so much time dividing us. You know, that this is a reunification project. This is about bringing us back together around a common thing called the greatest country on earth, right?
it is. And again, I want to thank you so much.
Yeah, all
We're
good.
going to do this again if you have
Okay.
time. And
Well,
Michelle, we'll be
do me a
reaching
favor
out.
and let United We Pledge know that you're happy with it and all that. And that would be
I
good.
am, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna actually. I think a lot of them was watching this show,
Okay.
either on TV or either on one of the streaming networks. But we're certainly gonna do that because you're doing amazing things, and thank you so much, my friend.
Honestly, it's so the gift is to be able to run like that. Nobody can run that many marathons in a row. That's a gift from God. The blessing, Dr. Cooley, is sharing it with others and for service of others. That's the blessing.
That's
So
what it's all about.
thank you.
Service for others. Service before self. And
100%.
thank you so much. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Tom. And we
All
will
right.
talk to you later. All right.
Okay, that sounds good, sir. Thank you, and thank your wife. I appreciate it and your listeners.